Hi, sixth grade, how are you today? Now let's complete our story, The Shoemaker and the Tiny Elves. The Shoemaker and the Tiny Elves. Shoemaker حكينا means صانع الأحذية and tiny Elvis الجني صغير or القزم جنيين. تمام. سادس we will read this paragraph حكينا. تمام. يلا. Point with me, sixth grade. Point with me. So one night after the shoemaker had left the pieces of leather on the bench, he and his wife were hiding themselves behind a curtain. So حكينا يا سادس إنه the shoemaker and his wife wanted to know بدهم يعرفوا for whom they should be grateful. They want to know for whom لمن they should be grateful. لمن يكونوا ممتنين. They want to know who they whom should be grateful. تمام. So they hiding. What do you mean by hiding يا سادس? The shoemaker and his wife hiding. What do you mean by hiding? اختبأ. Excellent. اختبأ behind the curtain. Behind the curtain. خلف الستارة. So the shoemaker and his wife hiding. اختبأوا behind the curtain. Behind the curtain خلف الستارة. Let's complete. And left a light in the room. Left a light. Left a light. تركوا ضوء in the room. تمام؟ Yeah. Just as the clock was approaching. The clock حكينا the clock was approaching. What do you mean by approaching سادس? The clock was approaching 12. تقترب. برافو. تقترب من 12. So the shoemaker and his wife hiding up behind the curtain and left a light in the room. اختبأوا behind the curtain الستارة and left light in the room. تركوا ضوء in the room. Just as the clock was approaching 12. Approaching mean اقتربت. Time. Let's complete. The door opened softly and the two tiny elves came dancing into the room. The door was opened softly. What do you mean by softly? The door was opened softly بهدوء أو بلطف. بهدوء أو بلطف or برفق. تمام? And two tiny elves came dancing into the room. كيف دخلوا الإلفيس dancing يرقصون. تمام سادس؟ يلا. Jump on the two jump onto the bench. Jump on to the bench. وقفزوا on the bench على المقعد. يلا. And began to put the pieces together. Began to put the pieces together. Pieces means قطع. Together. They were working quietly. They were working quietly means بهدوء. They were making little conversation. When they working لما كانوا يعملوا they make little conversation. What do you mean by conversation يا سادس؟ محادثة. برافو. They were making little conversation. كانوا يعملوا محادثة صغيرة. They had brought tiny scissors. The tiny Elvis brought with them أحضروا tiny scissors. Two tiny scissors means مقص. Scissors means مقص. And hammers. What do you mean by hammers? Bravo. مطارق. And thread. Again, the two tiny Elvis had brought with them أحضروا معهم tiny scissors مقص, hammers مطارق and thread خيوط. طيب, let's complete. Tap tap went the little hammers. Tap tap, it's the sound of the hammers. صوت المطارق. Tap tap went the little hammers. تمام. Stitch stitch went the thread. Stitch stitch means the sound of the thread. صوت الخيوط. Stitch الغرز. Yeah. Tap tap went the little hammers. Stitch stitch went the thread. And the little elves were working hard. No one ever worked so fast as they did. They worked so fast as they did. تمام? So they worked so fast. كانوا يعملون بسرعة فائقة. No one ever worked so fast as they did. So, let's complete the next paragraph. Yeah, point with me, Salis. In almost no time at all, the shoes were stitched and finished. The shoes are stitched. Stitched mean غرز خلاص and finished. They finished the pairs of shoes. أنهم صنع الأحذية. Then the little creatures. What do you mean by creatures يا سادس? The little creatures means مخلوقات. Little creatures مخلوقات صغيرة jumped away out of the window. When the tiny elves finished the work أنهوا العمل تمام they jumped away out of the window قفزوا out of the window من النافذة. The shoemaker and his wife were staring. The shoemaker and his wife were staring. What do you mean by staring at each other? Excellent. يحدقون at each other and said said and shoemaker said, how can we thank the little elves who have made us happy and prosperous? So the shoemaker said, how can we thank the little elves? كيف نستطيع أن نشكر the two little elves who have made us جعلونا feel happy and prosperous. What do you mean by prosperous يا سادس? Prosperous, who can tell me? Excellent, مزدهر or rich, غني. So the two elves or the two tiny elves made the shoemaker and his wife feel happy and prosperous. جعلوهم سعداء و rich, very rich أو مزدهرون. تمام؟ طيب. The wife said, I am going to make them some pretty clothes. The wife said, الزوجة, I am going to make them some pretty clothes. راح أصنع لهم pretty clothes, ملابس جميلة. To thank the two elves حتى تشكرهم. تمام يا سادس. Let's read our meanings. Let's make fast revision for our meanings. Happily حكينا happily means بسعادة. Lay on the two pairs of shoes lay on the bench ممددين أو تمدد على. برافو. Sign يا سادس. What do you mean by sign؟ لما حكينا and no sign of anyone who had been there. Excellent. علامة or إشارة. Puzzle. What do you mean by puzzle سادس؟ برافو. Loves. Confused. حكينا the shoemaker and his wife was confused. مضطربين. Excellent. طيب. Satisfied. What do you mean by satisfied؟ راضٍ أو مقتنع. Grateful. حكينا إنه shoemaker and his wife want to know for whom لمن they should be grateful. لمن يجب أن يكونوا grateful ممتنين. The new meanings معنى الجديدة حكينا the shoemaker and his wife hiding behind the curtain. hiding اختبأوا. Excellent. Curtain. Behind the curtain ستارة. تمام. The clock was approaching 12. The clock was approaching تقترب من الساعة 12. The door was opened softly. حكينا إنه the door was opened softly بهدوء. But the two tiny elves opened the door softly بهدوء or برفق. طيب, the two tiny elves had brought with them أحضروا معهم two tiny scissors. What do you mean by scissors؟ مقص. Excellent. And two tiny hammers. مطرقتين. Excellent. The little creatures. What do you mean by creatures؟ مخلوقات صغيرة. Creatures means مخلوقات. Prosperous. What do you mean by prosperous يا سادس؟ حكينا shoemaker and his wife want to thank the little elves they want to thank the little elves who have made them جعلوهم feel happy and prosperous مزدهرين or very rich. The shoemaker and his wife staring at each other يحدقون بعضهم البعض. Staring means يحدق. We have new words or new synonyms today. Prosperous. What do you mean by prosperous? حكينا مزدهر or rich. غني. The two Elvis made the shoemaker and his wife feel happy and prosperous. Prosperous means having success. Having success. ناجحين or مزدهرين أو very rich. تمام يا سادس؟ تمام هيك؟ تمام. برافو. So, why were the shoemaker and his wife confused? Who can tell me, yes, Sadis? Why were here? Why were the shoemaker and his wife feel confused? Why were the shoemaker and his wife feel confused? Why, yes, Sadis? Because they want to know for whom. ليش هم مضطربين confused? Because they want to know for whom they should be grateful. لازم يعرفوا لمين for whom they should be grateful. ممتنين. طيب, in your opinion يا سادس, why did the shoemaker and his wife لا why were the shoemaker لا in your opinion sorry سادس, why were the Elvis helping the shoemaker? In your opinion, أنت برأيك, why were the Elvis helping the poor or helping the poor shoemaker? Why? ليش قام الإلفيس helping the shoemaker بمساعدتهم؟ Maybe because they worked hard, كانوا يعملون بجد, they worked hard, but still they couldn't earn enough money. They worked hard, كانوا يعملون بجد, but they still couldn't earn enough money because that's the reason that the Elvis helping the shoemaker. So when we ask you why why the Elvis helping the shoemaker, because they worked as hard as they could and still he couldn't earn enough money. تمام يا سادس. This is question number 4. Why were the Elvis helping the shoemaker? ليش قاموا بمساعدتهم؟ تمام يا سادس هون؟ تمام. Thank you 6th grade. Thank you for listening. See you in the next lesson إن شاء الله. Bye bye.